Hi, and welcome to our session. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Tara. I'm a first grade teacher at Marine.
And I'm a fourth grade teacher.
And together, we've come up with some really cool ways to engage every type of learner in your classroom.
We've put together our favorites and easiest for you to take back to your classrooms.
So here's a little rundown of everything we're going to talk about in this session. First thing, we're going to talk about games and props and how to bring them into the classroom to gain engagement.
We're also going to talk about worksheet games. So games to enhance and excite your learners using worksheets. They're a little bit less boring.
We're going to give you some callbacks and cheers to use in the classroom to just kind of build a good classroom environment and get the students excited to share and interact with each other.
We're also going to show you how we incorporate mystery items to just make more anticipation and excitement in your classroom.
Definitely. We're also going to introduce you to a few characters that we've used to add engagement.
And finally, some digital games, some things you can use if you have one-to-one devices or even just a couple Chromebooks in your classroom.
And then we will give a little bonus portion at the end to talk a little bit about what distance learning could look like with these same strategies.
Yes, so stay tuned and we hope you enjoy our session.
So the first engagement strategy we want to share with you is the use of props and games in the classroom.
Okay, so as you can see, I have a few props right on me at this moment. So the first thing I want to talk about is this basketball head game. So anytime that my students are feeling like blah or it's like pulling teeth getting anything out of them, I'll just throw this on my head and instantly the kids sit up. They're excited. They know that we're about to play a game while I'm teaching. So I literally just put this on my head and I'm still teaching, and when somebody's paying attention or participating, I'll just hand them a ping pong ball and they get to quickly and quietly toss it on my head. If they make it, they earn whatever predetermined reward we have, like maybe $1 if you use money in your classroom, or dojo point, something very basic, and they'll get it at the end of the lesson, so they know not to ask for it right then. So that's super easy and instantly engaging.
And when her students see her put that on her head, they are instantly engaged.
Yes. Another thing are these glasses, which in my classroom we call them our magic glasses. So these came about because my students were really struggling with dividing last year, and they just had a fixed mindset, and I could not get them into more of a growth mindset to really get through the lessons. So I went to Target and bought some party glasses for the whole class, and I introduced them as I brought a magical item to our class today, and everybody gets to use them. And I just really build up this story about these magic glasses and how when you put them on, they help you divide. And it was super cute because the kids were saying I don't know how these work, but I can divide now. And they just got into that more growth mindset. So anytime we were struggling with any concept, some kids were even asking for the magic glasses, or I would just pull them out as kind of like an incentive to get through the lesson. So super fun, super easy.
Great use of a prop. The next one is turning your classroom into a snowball fight. And I'm sure you even remember doing this as a child, because I remember in some of my elementary classrooms we would do this. But Jamie and I like to pull it into our classrooms today. So what we do is we usually just crinkle up paper and have problems on those papers. We allow the students to just go crazy with it, throwing the papers, but then they pick one up, solve whatever problem's on it, record it on their worksheet, and then throw the snowball again, and it becomes a really fun game. It's definitely used to review math facts and things like that, and it kind of works, with any type of
any activity,
any
lesson. Subject, yes.
And then the other one, with Jamie, you kind of put a spin on this one, so she's going to explain the confetti.
The confetti. So it's the same concept. You could do it the same way Tara just said, just use colored paper and call it confetti. Or what I've done is, because they're different colors, I just print off a bunch of the same question on blue, same thing with green, orange, red, and then give the students a recording sheet. So we have a confetti, we just throw the confetti, and then the students just go and pick up whatever closest color it is, solve that problem, say it's blue, record it on the recording sheet. So again, you can really build up the lessons or even just get instant engagement by, in the middle of an ELA lesson, I might just start throwing confetti and they're all like, what's happening? And then I get into what we're going to be doing for the day. So.
And it gets them up and moving, and that really helps any lesson as well.
Absolutely, yes. Another one is Smash. So we use this 2 different ways in our classroom. Can either make like TPs with vocab cards or definitions or something like that, and the kids just place all of the TPs on their desk, and whenever I say a definition, they have to find the word, and when I say, okay, smash, they have to smash the correct card. Their neighbor can check, or I can go around and check and make sure they smashed the correct vocab card. Or you can have like just a sheet inside of a laminated or inside of a dry erase pocket with your different terms on them, and give the students Play-Doh, which this is so exciting,
I love it.
especially in 4th grade because we don't really use Play-Doh that often. And they have to make a Play-Doh ball out of their Play-Doh. And same thing, when I say something, a definition, they have to find the vocab word on their paper, set it down, and when I say smash, they smash the Play-Doh to lock it into place, and it's super fun and exciting.
Something that you can use for any lesson too. All right, the next one is the use of straws in the classroom. And this is something we use a lot. So it's really great for like sorting activities. Let's say you want your students to sort a spelling pattern. So they have to, put all of the long A's on this side of their desk, all of the short A's on this side. What's fun is you use this straw to actually do the sorting. Watch. And you move it that way. So again, instant engagement with a very simple prop.
Yes. And then last is a cooperative learning game called Quiz Quiz Trade. We love this one. I use a ton of task cards in my classroom, so any set of task cards that you have, this will work. And the name of the game is actually the rules of the game, so this explains it completely. Quiz Quiz Trade. So essentially, I have a task card, Tara has a task card. If I walk up to her, I read her card and answer it. She knows the answer. Will give me a high five if I get it correct, or coach me to get the correct answer. Same thing, she'll read it, give me an answer, high five if she gets it correct, or coach her. We just quiz, and now we're going to trade and go find another partner and do the same thing over and over and over for how long you have a timer set, or you tell the students that you're going to be doing it for.
Yeah. So we hope you like those easy engagement games and props.
Yes. Alrighty.
The next set of games that we want to share with you are games that help to enhance any worksheet.
Yes, so we all know that worksheets can be boring, and anytime you go to pass it out, the students just get this look across their face like they don't want to do this, and they're just not into it. And I mean, same for the teachers. Like, I hate passing out worksheets, but sometimes it's the best way to just get all that practice in, and we just have to do it. So we have started using games to kind of increase that engagement, increase that excitement, and just make that authentic learning experience better when using a worksheet.
So here is our first game. This game is called Stinky Feet. And in order to play Stinky Feet, you want to divide your class in half. Everyone's working on the same worksheet. But what you're going to do is call up a student from each team and start getting the answers to the worksheets. So if a child from Team A gets the answer right, he comes up, he gets to pick one of the Post-its, and he either is going to get a positive point or a negative point. So even though he got the answer right, there's a chance that he may get points taken away. So it's kind of like a game of luck. There's another one, which is where the game gets its name. This says Stinky Feet. If the child pulls a Stinky Feet, that means that team lost all of their points. But the fun part is they get to take their shoes off. So for the rest of the game, they have Stinky Feet.
So all the kids are engaged, all the kids don't feel like left out, because it's a total game of luck.
Yeah.
Nobody has to be really good at the game. You can't really be good at it to win the game. So
Yeah.
super fun. Another one that's kind of similar to that, you split your class into 2 teams, just like Tara was saying, but this game is called Totally Unfair. Now, we just have like buckets that we had in our closet. We wrote the name Totally Unfair on the side of the bucket, and inside we put a bunch of note cards that have either positive points or negative points. You can go as high as you want to go, and they're just all mixed in the bucket. So again, same thing, they're all working on the same worksheet. When Team A, someone gets it correct, you call them, they come up to the bucket. But before they stick their hand in the bucket to choose a note card, they have to decide if they want to keep whatever they pull out of the bucket for their team, or if they want to give it to the other team. again, they have no idea what they're about to pull out of this bucket. So they could be giving a lot of points to the other team, or they could be taking points away, which is what they probably want to do to win the game. So again, it's totally exciting. The kids start screaming, "That's totally unfair," whenever they start getting points taken away. It's so fun, and this is a class favorite in my room.
Definitely in first grade too, so that's a fun one.
Another one that's simple is Connect 4. Now, we have a couple of the physical games in our classroom, but that can get pricey to have a bunch of these in your classroom for all your students to be using. So I created a template, which you could too, on Microsoft Word, and I just put like all of just circles across the screen in rows and columns and printed it off, and then we just used counters, different colored counters, and the kids have to pretend like gravity is pulling the counters to the bottom, just like in the game Connect 4. So that's a little less expensive way to play this with your class.
And again, that can be used with any worksheet. So when our students are playing against each other, what they're actually doing is solving problems on their worksheet. If they realize that they have like a whole row right, then they go and put their little counter in, and then their partner gets to do the same with their other color counters.
Yes. So you could use it with partners, like Tara was saying, so just have 2 kids playing or 3 kids playing if you have 3 different colored counters. Or I've even done it like on the Promethean board. I just made an interactive version with the circles, and we do it as a whole group. Again, just split up into 2 teams, kind of like Stinky Feet, and they play against each other in Connect 4.
That's perfect. And this might kind of transition well into the tic-tac-toe.
Yes.
So you can have that tic-tac-toe board up on your Promethean board, and it could be another way that you're having 2 different teams play against each other.
Yes.
Coming up to put the X and the O.
Now, you could either just draw it on a whiteboard, or I don't know if you know this, but if you just Google it on the Google search engine, they have a version that you can actually play with on your Promethean board, and the kids can come up and touch the screen. So this also gets them engaged whenever they get to touch it. They have a bunch of other games too. I haven't played around with them that much, but this is something to definitely check out. It's free on Google. You just search it.
Really, really easy ways to spice up these worksheets. So.
Jenga is another way, so it's very similar to the Connect 4. I went to the dollar store and they sell mini Jengas for only $1. So I just bought a bunch of them, like 20 of them, and I split the kids up into groups of 2, and again, when they solve a problem, if they check it with each other and get it correct, then they each get to play a piece on the Jenga blocks, and just a fun way to get them engaged.
Very easy. You can hit that last one too.
Oh, okay. Mystery Buckets is also a class favorite. We were playing this right before we had to go to distance learning, and the kids were loving it. So this just to give you a visual. I just crumbled up a bunch of different colored pieces of paper, and then I had like 5 different buckets. On the bottom of the buckets, I just taped a note card, and I put like point values. One of the buckets was 0. Some of the buckets were like 20. Some of the buckets were 5, 3, 2. You get the idea. So the kids are solving, they're split into teams according to the color of the paper. So we have the blue team, the green team, the red team, and they're all just working at their own pace together as a group or individually at their desk, and they just know what color they are. When they get a question correct and I check it, they just quietly go up to the front of the room, pick a colored piece of paper off the floor, and drop it in a random bucket. They have no idea what value each bucket is, so it's quick. It gets them out of their seat and moving, and they're excited and anticipating how many points they're getting. So at the end of class or at the end of the day, then we reveal what team won. So I'll go through each bucket, and the kids all crowd around me, and we see how many points the green bucket was worth. If it was 5, if Tara's blue team had 3 blue paper balls in the green bucket, then they would have got 5, 10, 15 points for that bucket. So super fun. It's so cool to see who wins, because some of them put all of their eggs in one basket, literally, and it could just be 0 points. So really easy and not really time-consuming game.
So we hope that you enjoyed these little games that, again, could spice up any type of worksheet, and we hope you can try them this year.
Yes, definitely give them a try. Another way we get our students pumped about learning is using callbacks and cheers. Now, the ultimate benefit we see in using callbacks is that we can get our students' attention within a snap of our fingers. So instead of us always saying, shh, get quiet, shh, you're talking too much, or come on, everybody listen. We don't ever do that in our classrooms. We use our callbacks, and the kids know to follow it, and we get their attention really quickly.
And this is a way to really keep the morale up in your class. So if you notice that your class is getting too loud, you may see some teachers that yell and say, stop, quiet, or a certain child is being loud. Hey, Bobby, stop. So that's never what you want. And these callbacks really kind of boost the morale by bringing the energy up without giving a directive to stop doing something.
Yes, so instead of, like Tara was saying, instead of shouting, it kind of tells those students that we're making bad choices, like, woo, we need to calm ourselves down. By getting the attention of the whole class, we didn't have to call that one student out, but they know internally they were probably the one making the bad choice, so it kind of stops them from doing that behavior.
Yes. So a callback that I like to use often is just the class yes. So I say class, they respond
Yes.
class, class,
Yes, yes.
classity, class.
Yesity, yes.
Switch it up just to keep the kids on their toes. And again, I'm never yelling at certain students to be quiet. I'm just saying that callback so everyone can bring their attention to me.
Yes. Now, obviously, we have to train the kids at the beginning of the year, or if you teach them a new callback, we do it in a fun way where we teach them however we say class is how you say yes, and we just make it like a fun game when we're introducing the new callbacks. You can even have the kids create their own callbacks. So sometimes my students will come home from the weekend and they'll be like, Mrs. Miller, I was watching a commercial and there was a little jingle, and they'll say, can we use that as a callback? So, and I let that, I introduce it as a callback and say that Tara brought it to our class. So it brings more enjoyment and the kids feel ownership when they create their own callbacks.
Definitely. So a few other ones that are really cute and easy. I like to use Hocus Pocus, and this is when I want students to really focus in. Maybe I'm up at the smart board and I want everyone to focus on the smart board. So I would say Hocus Pocus.
Everybody focus, and we would look at whatever
we're
she wants us to look
pointing
at.
So Hocus Pocus, everybody focus. That's a good one.
Sometimes this is a good one to get them to zip it. So I would say www dot, and they say
zipit.com.
So that's kind of fun because it tells everybody to zip it in a more positive manner.
Another one that we like, and it's cartoon themed, it's Are You Ready, Kids? And everyone says, aye, aye, Captain. And they really like that one.
Another easy one, ready to rock, ready to roll.
Ready to roll, yeah.
Chicka chicka,
Boom, boom.
Those are just some fun ones. So there's tons on the internet. Just Google callbacks for the classroom and you'll find a lot of fun ones.
Another aspect of callbacks, well, I shouldn't say another aspect, but another thing that we wanted to cover under this callback session was cheers. And cheers are a great way to just, again, boost the morale in the classroom. So if you have a child that did something great, the whole class should be praising that child. It doesn't just need to come from the teacher. So some things that we really like to use are, I'm going to do the pencil sharpener.
Yeah, that's my favorite. So say Tara did answer a question or she participated and she doesn't usually participate and I really want to give her that morale boost. I'll say, give Tara the pencil sharpener, and we pretend our finger is a pencil, point at her and say, zzz, you're sharp. So imagine if 24 of your friends are pointing at you doing that. It makes you just feel all bubbly and happy inside.
These are great. And sometimes we even let the kids, call out the chants for their friends when they see them doing something great. What else? Oh, easy peasy. Oh, that's the wrong one.
It's okay. The sprinkler, that one's an ultimate favorite. It's on my mind right now because we have to water our grass a lot because it hasn't been raining a lot. But the sprinkler, if I say, wow, give her the sprinkler, we all just pretend we're a sprinkler and go right across that person. So that's a fun one.
They love that one. And you know what? The easy peasy was right. I was wrong. That is right. So if somebody solved a problem with ease, everyone can look at them and go, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And they love to do that little thing. So.
One more before we move on. The alien cheer. So this one's cute. So we would just point at the person we're cheering for, put our little antennas up and say, you're out of this world. I couldn't remember. You're out of this world in a squeaky little alien voice. So these just help make your students feel happy and bubbly inside and just keeps everybody on a positive note.
Yes.
Now, one more before we go is whenever our students make a mistake.
Which is bound to happen in your classroom.
Always, even when we make mistakes. So we like to just boost their morale with that too. Because obviously we're cheering on all the people that are getting things correct or doing good things. We also want them to know that it's okay to make mistakes. So whenever somebody makes a mistake, the whole class, I'll say, oh, tell them it's all right. And the whole class will say, it's okay, or it's all right, whatever they choose. And then they feel better, immediately at ease, knowing, oh, it is okay. Like, I make mistakes, and everybody makes mistakes. So sometimes the kids even call out when we make a mistake. The whole class will shout, it's all right, Mrs. Miller or Miss Coyne.
And you want to show them, like, of course, we all make mistakes. So it's really a good learning experience for them to be calling you out for mistakes that you make too. It's almost like celebrating mistakes because you know that you're going to grow from them. That's kind of what we're the message we're sending.
Absolutely. So if you haven't used any callbacks or cheers or the combination of both, check them out and try them.
Okay, so another strategy we like to use in the classroom are characters. And as you can see, I have my Wonder Woman cape on. This is a character I like to use when I'm teaching predictions. So I come into the classroom wondering so many different things. I wonder what's for lunch. I wonder what we'll do on the playground. I wonder what is the activity in gym class. So as we're reading, I tell the students, you can wonder what's going to happen next. And that's when I introduce predictions. We always love using little anchor charts, so this is just a way to kind of talk about that with them. I wonder what will happen next in the story. And then we talk about that big word prediction, a guess you make based on what you know. Next character.
All right, another character would just be like a detective. So if you're learning about context clues, imagine the engagement just by putting on this like trench coat jacket in the middle of your ELA lesson and saying that we're going to be detectives and figuring out mystery words. The kids get so excited, even putting on like a black hat or having a big magnifying glass. And they get so excited just to figure out what those context clues are because you are a detective.
And you're setting the scene. Another one I really love, in first grade this is a hit. I just put a big bow in my hair and I become Possessive Polly. And Possessive Polly is teaching them about possessive nouns. And I run around the classroom and I take everything from the students. I take pencils, crayons, I even take their folders, maybe a chair, and I say that they're mine and they're in my possession. Then I start to teach how a possessive noun shows ownership.
All right, and then another character would be a thief. So you just put this mask on. I'll just hold it here for demonstration purposes. Mm-hmm. But the thief, when we're teaching contractions, so put this on and pretend you're a thief and maybe have your contraction printed, each individual letter on a piece of paper, and then the thief comes along and steals that letter and replaces it with an apostrophe. So you just act like a thief and it just gets the kids excited.
So these have been hits in both of our classrooms, and it's something that we think you all should try at home.
Yes. All right. Okay, the final thing we wanted to share with you was our mystery items that we bring into our classroom. So as you see, Tara's wearing a backpack. We went a little over the top and created these mystery backpack bags, but we've also used just an ordinary like manila envelope and put a big question mark on the outside, or an Amazon box, put question marks all over it, anything that will build anticipation and excitement.
Having a level of mystery in a lesson just grabs everybody's attention.
Including, imagine if you were at a professional development and the presenter was wearing this bag. You'd want to know what was inside.
There are times when I've worn this bag for a half hour, 45 minutes, even longer.
Like the whole day. Like I will just be, that's kind of mean, but I wear it all day just to get that excitement.
Yes. But it really does build the excitement and you have their attention for
however long. Yes. So items that we put inside the bag can vary, and you can decide whatever you want to put inside. But like we were talking about the smash activity with the Play-Doh. So I might just put the Play-Doh inside, and at the end of the lesson, we get to open it up and use the Play-Doh.
Another thing I usually put in mine are the straws, again, that we talked about earlier in the presentation, where that's just a little element to a lesson that can be the surprise that's pulled out, towards the end of the lesson.
Any game that you're looking to play within your lesson, like any of the games we described, you can stick that in. It can even be as basic as a note card with like a certain amount of dojo points or class money that you're just going to give them if they got through the lesson in a good, positive way. So that kind of leads to sometimes we don't open the bag.
It does happen.
It happens, and it's sad. And it usually only happens like once or twice a year because the students realize as soon as it happens once, she's not kidding. We're not opening, we're not getting rewarded with whatever the mystery is if we can't stay on task.
Right, so you do want to follow through with that so that it doesn't happen again in the future.
Yes. It's kind of a bummer for you too because I get just as excited as they are to like show them what's inside the bag.
Me too, so it's disappointing if you don't get to.
Yes.
Another little activity that kind of has a level of mystery is the trash scratch. And this could be really good for like a math test. So when you have your students doing the math test and you know you want them to solve and show their work on scratch paper, so what you can do is let them put their name on the top of their scratch paper. And when they're done and they're turning in their test, let them wrinkle up their scratch paper and put it into a basket. Let them know at the very end of the day, you're going to pull one of those scratch papers out and the mystery person will win a prize. So it's giving them an incentive to really show their work on those math tests.
Now, I also, with fourth graders, I make sure that I'm holding them accountable because they're getting a little bit older and moving to middle school soon. So I tell them that if their trashed scratch, it's like a tongue twister, if their trashed scratch is not up to my standards, they're not winning the prize. So I won't make it a big deal when I pull out and I notice like, oh, Tara wrote real big a number 4 on her paper. That's not appropriate scratch.
Right.
Like they did not show their work appropriately. So I would just say, this person didn't earn it, and crumble it back up and throw it in the actual garbage can. So I don't make it a big deal if whoever it was didn't earn it, but they know if they did the appropriate thing and did actually show their work.
So, really good one.
Another one is class lottery. So I just kind of made this model to give you a visual, but you can just have on your Promethean board or on your projector projecting boxes on your screen, and inside the boxes number them like 1 through 100 or whatever, however many boxes you have. Now it could be go with like worksheets or just like you're reviewing. Anytime a student does well, this could be a whole week long game. You just have it on the back board for the whole week, and if students doing something nice, you can say, oh Tara, go put your initials on the class lottery, and they just randomly pick a square, put their initials, and sit back down. As easy as that. And then at the end of the week or end of the day or whatever you're using it for, you just go on Google, again, free tool, awesome. Just type in random number generator, and you just put like 0 to 100. You choose the range of numbers and then randomly pick a number, and whoever's box that was, they win a prize or whatever you determined they would win. So
really simple and easy as well.
You can also, if somebody's not following the rules, they can have to erase their initials, something like that, just to really hold them accountable. So, simple but effective way to get the kids excited about learning.
All right.
Hi there. The next thing we wanted to share with you are some digital games that we use in our classroom. A lot of these games, the students do need one-to-one devices. So if you have a class set of tablets or Chromebooks, this will work for you. Some of them, they can just work in partners or pairs if you only have a few tablets or Chromebooks. So just keep that in mind when you're watching this portion of the video. They do need some sort of technology in the classroom. The first one I wanted to share with you was Quizlet. Now, I know that you probably have heard of Quizlet. You've probably used it yourself in college or high school or middle school and used it, the flashcard portion, to study for something. And that is still part of Quizlet, but they have come a long way and have updated so many things. I'm a huge fan. I started the past couple years creating all of my students' study guides using Quizlet. They can use that flashcard feature, but they can also use they have different games and things like that that the kids can use to study using the question set that you create. And it just gives you like a URL that the kids type in and it takes them right to your study set. Very simple. They don't have to have usernames or passwords. It's awesome. I've noticed that I've been fighting the battle of technology with my students. It's harder and harder to engage them. That's why Tara and I have used all of these different strategies to just grasp their attention, because they're used to being on devices all the time. They have phones, they have tablets, they have computers at home that they're constantly on. They're sitting in front of a TV screen. So we're fighting the technology battle. But what better way to fight the battle is with technology. The kids love playing games on there, so why not use it in an academic way? And that's why I love using the games such as Quizlet. Now, a portion of Quizlet is a really big favorite in my classroom. It's called Quizlet Live. We use this as a review tool in the classroom. You can use whatever question set you create, and it creates a live review game for your students to play. Now, in order for this to work appropriately, you do, like I said, every student in the room needs to have a device to play the game. And then I'm just going to give you a quick overview, but for a better description and a better visual, just YouTube Quizlet Live, and the Quizlet team creates really good videos to explain. But just to give you a quick little glimpse, essentially all the students have a device. They log in using the code when you click on the Quizlet Live game. They log in with like a 5-digit code, type their name in, and then they're randomly given a team. Now, all the teams are different animals. So like I might be on the zebra team, it pops up on my tablet screen. Tara might be on the tiger team, and all the team members need to go find the same team members in the room. So like all the tigers find the tigers and zebras find the zebras. Once they're all together, you press start on your screen and it starts the game. And on their tablet, every team member, so all the tigers will have the same question that pops up, but each member of the team only has like 2 or 3 answer choices, and only one person on the team has a correct answer. So it's really awesome. They have to learn how to communicate with each other to figure out which team member has the correct answer, and then they click it and it moves them up on the leaderboard. It is a fan favorite in my classroom, so definitely check out Quizlet and Quizlet Live if you haven't checked it out recently in your classroom. All right, another one that we like is called Quiz-Iz. So that's with Z's, not S's. Quiz-Iz. This is another class favorite. So it's, again, used for review. I use it for review, or I even just use it in my lesson. So say we're learning about main idea or something like that. I teach the whole lesson, we do our practice, and then at the end we might play 5 minutes of a main idea Quiz-Iz that I have previously created. But another good feature of Quiz-Iz is you can actually search other teachers' quizzes that they have created. So you can just type in main idea and you can filter through and find one that you like, and you can even download it and edit it or add questions, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you use Quiz-Iz. It's a super fun game. It's student paced. So again, each student needs their own tablet, or you can have the students working in groups with one tablet per 2 or 3 kids. That would work fine. But each student is moving at their own pace. Maybe they have to answer 10 questions, but I could answer my 10 questions in like 5 seconds, and Tara could take 5 minutes, and she could still beat me because she got more questions correct. So it really teaches the students to take their time and use their time wisely and go for accuracy, not time. So that's another good one. One that you've probably heard of is Kahoot. This is very similar to Quiz-Iz. However, Kahoot, they each have their own device again, but the question is on your screen, real big, and the students have to answer on their screen. So it's not student-paced anymore, it's class-paced. So you're setting the pace and you're actually maybe verbally saying the questions and running the session yourself instead of them going at their own pace. So that one, I find Quiz-Iz to be a little bit better for my students, because a lot of my students get stressed out with Kahoot because they have to answer so quickly. So I usually use Kahoot if I'm just like trying to access information, prior knowledge that they have. So I'll do it at the beginning of a lesson, so quickness isn't really, I'm not checking for accuracy, I'm just trying to see what prior knowledge they have. Another one that I just discovered this year, and it is definitely a love in my classroom, my students beg for this anytime we're doing a new unit, is called GimKit, with a G, GimKit. Now, GimKit is like no other game that I've seen before. It's kind of set up similar to Quiz-Iz. So the students, you create a whole list of questions. You can also just search in their engine other teachers that have created lessons similar to what you're teaching, and you can manipulate it into whatever you want it to do. But you essentially just have questions with multiple choice, and each student, again, has their own device, and they're answering the questions just as they would in Quiz-Iz. However, they're earning money for each question, and then they can purchase like to increase how much money they get per question, or they can freeze their friend's tablet or screen so that they can't be answering a question for like 5 seconds. They can take money from another player if they have enough money to purchase that in the store. Now, I was a little weary about using it because I thought they would spend too much time in the store, but it's like timed. And if they take too much time shopping in the store on their screen, then they're going to fall way behind in the game and be behind in the leaderboard. Another thing that's super cool is as the teacher, you have the power to like give students money or take money away. So if I notice that Johnny over here is spending too much time in the store, I can take some money away, and it pops up on his screen and says like, your teacher just took money away from you. So, and I will go over and tell them to get back on task. I can also notice like, oh, Tara is trying so hard and she's just like she doesn't answer as quickly as everybody else. So I can give her money so it bumps her up on the leaderboard if I notice she's working really hard. So that's a really nice feature. That is, need to check out GimKit. I'm in love with it. And then a final one, if you don't have devices for every student, because some of you might be saying, well, we only have like one set of Chromebooks for the whole school, so it's rare that we have them in our classroom, which is very, very real. That could be what you're dealing with. You could use Plickers, where no students need any devices. You literally just go on the Plickers website and you print off, they look like little QR codes, but on the top, on the 4 corners, there's a letter. There's A, B, C, and D. So the students...
This concludes our presentation. We hope you found some of these strategies to be valuable.
And that you can take some of them away and use them in your classroom to excite your learners. As we promised at the beginning of this video, we have included a little discussion about how to incorporate these strategies and even more in a distance virtual learning environment.
So keep watching. Watch that small segment, and we hope you enjoyed the presentation.
Yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.
In addition to everything that we already shared, we wanted to also talk a little bit about distance learning. We thought that you may have some questions. If you like the strategies that we shared, well, what if distance learning is a possibility this year? How can we use those same strategies if we're teaching from afar? So Jamie and I bounced some ideas off of each other, and these were some ways that we thought we could take those same strategies from the presentation and use them in distance learning. So the first one that I think would captivate any student, even from behind a screen, would be the use of puppets. Now I teach first grade, so this is something that would be great for me, great for kindergarten, but using puppets in any lesson is just going to grab their attention. So the way I was picturing this is if I'm doing a Google Meet with my students and I'm presenting a lesson to them, or if I'm maybe videoing a lesson and posting it to an online platform, the use of a puppet would be perfect. If you are teaching an older grade, I feel like puppets could still grab their attention. So this would be one way. Another way that I think, again, would just grab anyone's attention is the use of the characters that we talked about earlier in the presentation. So if I'm teaching again, whether it be a video that I'm sending out on an online platform or I'm talking to my students through a Google Meet, I could still be Possessive Polly, and I could still take on that same character's vibe and act crazy and act like I want to take everything from my house and say that everything belongs to me while I'm teaching possessive nouns. So don't be afraid to take these same things that you would use inside the classroom and do it behind the screen. So again, take out your props to be the thief and really make it theatrical. Let your students see that even from home, they can connect to you in this way. Something else that we thought about, when students are at home, they're not going to have all like the manipulatives that we would have in our classroom. But we thought about, hey, there's a lot of things they have at their house that they could really use to kind of engage in the same lessons. So one of the props that Jamie talked about earlier in the presentation was the use of the magic glasses. Now again, they're not going to have the magic glasses from the classroom, but what if you have your students go find a pair of reading glasses of their parents, or maybe a pair of sunglasses that they've had, or I don't know, some crazy glasses that they have laying around in their playroom. So this would be a really great use of the magic glasses, and it would just kind of keep your Google Meets a little bit more engaging. All right, what else can we talk about? So stinky feet. that was a game that we like to use to enhance worksheets. But if you're using a Google Meet and you're talking to your class and you're presenting a lesson, this can be kind of on the wall behind you. And if you had your class divided into Group A and Group B, or Team A and Team B, you could still have them select points. Now, they can't come up and take off the sticky note, but one of the students from Team A that's coming up to pick their little sticky note would this time just say the number. Okay, Miss Coyne, I want to pick number 3, and you would pull the number 3 for them. So this is a way to kind of incorporate those games digitally. Another one would be Totally Unfair, which would be very similar to the Stinky Feet. You in your Google Meet, or however you are kind of talking or presenting to your class, could still have the teams, Team A and Team B, and a student could ask, all right, Miss Coyne, I want you to pick a card to get my points, and I want you to give these points to the other team. Or whatever you pick, Miss Coyne, I want to keep those points. So that's a way to use Totally Unfair distance learning. Another one would be the trash scratch. You could have, this is Jamie's idea, and I really like this one. You could have your parents, the students' parents, take a picture of their scratch work. So sending you a picture of their work, and then you able to select one of the scratch papers from your camera roll, and that would be a way that they could win whatever the mystery prize was with the trash scratch. And what else did we want to share with you? I think that might be it. But take some of those, like we said, those same strategies from our presentation and use them if and when distance learning has to happen. Don't be afraid to take those same strategies and use them.